Yes, I'm very happy to be able to speak here to you and talk about a topic I am very excited for and I am currently working on. So the topic of my speech is, as already mentioned, futurology, smart cities and the future role of energy companies. So, and I think you agree with me that almost everyone, if you close your eyes and think about what a smart city actually is, probably everyone has another definition or another picture in his mind. So I think some of one might be thinking about flying cars or also cable cars as new way of transportation, flying drones for new delivery services to optimize them, electromobility in general, or also, yes, like parking controlling and traffic controls, autonomous driving, or intelligent houses where everything is voice controlled and immediately set to custom, for example, where they are self-efficient in the energy way, or also like digital service for the public sector. Or is a smart city maybe green? So to further shape our overall smart city vision, I will come to a best practice example now. So I often mentioned best practice in the smart city surrounding is Songdo. It's in South Korea. In Songdo, for example, there are existing more than 50,000 cameras that are monitoring everything. In addition to that, every building in Songdo is fingerprinted to be opened and also set by custom immediately. Another fact is that the garbage in every apartment is thrown through a shaft to a really huge underground system, and it will be recycled immediately. And a lot of other really fantastic things, and it really sounds like the city of the future. But Songdo, I have to mention now, was built on a green meadow right from scratch. So it's not like an existing city. It was yes, created on a green field. And I don't want to talk down the complexity of Songdo, but I think it's even more complex to make the implementation of the mentioned practice examples on existing cities. So I think everything is going about digitalization, data, IoT, and everywhere where data is, it's all about smart links with each other. But if we take, so the focus in Songdo is definitely sustainability and also technology. But if we take other criteria into consideration, for example, human capital, social factors, or the economy, then we can also mention as well other cities, for example, London, Paris, Singapore, or maybe also Berlin. So you were already asked for a definition what a smart city is. So I have brought a definition of smart city, and admittedly, it's from Wikipedia. But I think it's a really appropriate one if you see it. And so if you link this definition of what a smart city is to the mentioned practical examples, it's a lot about the topics transport, security, buildings, energy, telecommunication. And the overall goal is that it has to create added value for the citizens and also for the environment. So I think from the things we heard, we can make some conclusions. So firstly, I think there's not only one exact definition or not only one picture what exactly a smart city is. Secondly, the most smart cities are about technological things and that they have to optimize anything for the cities, for the citizens or for the environment. Thirdly, the people who are living in the city have to accept the advantage of the smart city. Fourth, smart cities are very complex. There are not only one or two players in this field, So we have many industries that have worked together and the industry boundaries are blurring. And 5, I think most important point is that conditions like increasingly limited working space and also the scarcity of resources really call for the smart cities, so that we can keep the goal to keep living together and make it possible with smart cities. So responsibility has to take it over now. So now we make a switch to Netze BW. I'm working for the grid operator in Baden-Württemberg. So we belong to the EnBW concern, a big energy company. And for the energy sector, the ultimate goal is to secure the energy supply. And I think it's a very, very big topic to secure this energy supply, and it's the basis for almost everything. So we are back on the topic of responsibility again. And Netze BW is also an infrastructure provider, and as other companies of the energy sector, we have to face some challenges regarding the energy turnover. So our board member, Frank Mastiot, explained it very clearly what we have to do. We have to take over new business opportunities outside our own sector, but with the skills we learned in our new sector to offset the breaking energy returns. So the boundaries are blurring. In the smart city environment, we have so many actors. Netze BW is just one of many in that field, and one example of the energy companies. So now we shift the perspective from a really high level down to earth and where smart city projects are now and what challenges they have to face. Every change has accompanied with fears. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. So if you work really closely together with your customers, you will see it very from the start. And there are really many reasons why customers are afraid. So these are really just some named reasons why some people don't like to have smart cities and don't want to develop them. Some people are really afraid or not, have some fear when they think about smart cities. And these are really just some possible reasons. So, for example, too much reliance on machines, or the decrease of personal communication, or also data security. And so for that reason, participation is really important right from the beginning. And in my hometown, Stuttgart, we have a good example from a smart city project in a broader sense where participation really failed. And because we had that topic really right in front of our eyes and we really feel that, we don't want to repeat that mistake. So secondly, another challenge is, or another point where we are now in the reality, is that there's a really big gap between the smart city flagship cities and the rest of the world. So Netze BW operates a lot in rural areas, so really small cities on the countryside, and there are really no smart applications, sometimes many, or if any at all. So it's a really big gap. So how our smart city vision and our project, diginamic, started a few months ago, I will show you, and it's one project of many within EnBW and Netze BW. So in our smart city future started with this black thing. So I really don't want to go in technical details today, but within our project we will build a LoRaWAN network. It's a license-free network. It can cover huge and large areas. It has a really small bandwidth, but it's very energy efficient. But the benefit with this LoRaWAN network comes on the second step. With various sensors, you connect with the network for different use cases. So this is a parking sensor. And a few months ago, together with our 2 lighthouse communes, it built our first use case. So the parking sensor is placed on the ground, on firefighting driveways, and it detects when a car is illegally parked. So it will send a message, SMS or an email to the public order officer. Why are you laughing? Okay, so this is a use case you are afraid of. Okay, I see. But for the city, of course, it's a quite advantage, because from the viewpoint of the city, for you it might sound like trivial in comparison to the use cases in Zongdo, but for the city, it optimized the processes, because the staff don't have to run aimlessly through the city, firstly, and secondly, it's good for the security, especially in front of schools or in kindergartens. So from the beginning, it was for us really important to have close cooperations with our communities, and we made different workshops with our city and the staff who's working there. And on the same time, we were able to take the social aspect into consideration right from the start. So, for example, we learned that we have to educate about the non-harmful radio radiation, and also about the data protection topic. But we also had to face some challenges with this parking sensor, our first use case. First of all, vandalism. So it was forcibly removed from the ground. And secondly, during the installation, there were really skeptical citizens who asked our team, what the hell are you doing here? So the human factor in the smart city surrounding really has not to be underestimated. So the trip went from a really high altitude from the vision of smart cities, a best practice example, now to this parking sensor, a Netze BW. And yeah, so pessimistically, it could be considered as a really dive down from a high level to the point where we are right now. But optimistically and realistic, I can say that this smart parking sensor is just one example of really many smart city applications. So it's just like a puzzle piece, and with many, many other puzzle pieces, it will build an overall picture for the future to create smart cities. But nobody can manage the smart city topic alone. So as I mentioned, the sector or developing together, and companies who had been competitors will be in cooperation in the future to handle that challenge and the vision. So, and I'm very curious about the future of smart city, and also about in what speed smart cities will develop in Germany, Europe, and also in the world. So this sensor was really just a start. At Netze BW, a practical example. And yes, the vision will go on with Netze BW as one of many players next to each other. Thank you, and sorry for...
Hey, thank you. I'm really also happy that you, because you're quite ill, so I'm happy that you did that. And we just saw that. I mean, the world is full of movies about smart cities, full of movies, and everybody has fantastic visions. And you saw what are the problems, right? And maybe we combine that with the other thing we saw from China. Now we know why they don't have the problems, because they just don't care. Right? And so coming back to your clients, actually, because your clients are the communities. What are actually the biggest challenges when you approach the communities right now, and with let's call it sales. So what are the stories you
Actually, it's not the sales, but the chairmen of the cities, they are afraid of the fears of the citizens. So because they represent them, and especially they just heard something about wireless and data, and you have to communicate to your citizens that you're doing a new digital project for a smart city. They are afraid that the citizens don't want to have it. Yeah.
So it's not.
So the human factor.
It's change again, right? And
yeah.
You're working actually with our team. What are the daily, let's say, the daily things you're doing? What are the challenges you really support with the XQ team? Our project is a really wide field, so we get support from you in, of course, the business development. So to create a vision and also the short-term advantages, and as well, of course, the marketing for our customer segments and the product creation, so the product development for more use cases than with the parking sensor. And also we help to fix the thing on the ground.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.